right, good morning, Livepeer. Big round of applause for everyone here in the room. So amazing to have everyone here. I'm going to give a talk that doesn't dive too deep into the details. I want to focus more on Livepeer in the big picture, why we're all here, and the opportunity that we have ahead of us. And I want to highlight just kind of all that we've done and innovated on and all that we have to do in front of us to give everyone a sense of like the bigger picture opportunity that we have. So, we've been on this mission to build the world's open video infrastructure for the last 8+ years at this point. And, we're really excited that, the future of video increasingly becomes more compute intensive, AI intensive, machine learning intensive, and all the groundwork that we've laid with our, network of GPUs run by our fantastic node operators and our great full stack streaming and video software can all be combined to power this future. So very, very exciting. You just look at Livepeer sort of at a glance. As I mentioned, we were founded in 2017. We have raised a significant amount of capital through both people who hold the token and participate in the network, or provided capital to Livepeer Inc. or other companies in the ecosystem to focus on go-to-market efforts, including a lot of the who's who of investors across the sort of digital asset and crypto space. And that's formed like a really solid foundation for our network, our teams, our token, to be able to sort of give us the capital and opportunity to build towards this really big, ambitious, hard mission. And I know that when if you dive in and you look at all the debates that we're having in the Discord or on the forum and all the problems we're trying to solve, it's clear that we have a lot of work ahead of us. But Livepeer has always been like a high integrity, technical first project that actually just like puts their heads down and does the work and keeps building and keeps trying to move this mission forward. And if you actually like zoom out and look at how that's been reflected in the value of the Livepeer network over the years, you actually see this sort of pretty constant and steady up and to the right graph, right? Where, back when we first sort of got like liquidity for the token around 2020, our network was valued, in the single-digit millions of dollars, right? And then a year later, $30 million. And then a year later, there was a bubble and everything went crazy, and we'll just ignore that crazy number for a second. But then, 2023, $100 million, 2024, $200 million, 2025, the start of the year, $500 million. And obviously it's a very volatile space. We don't talk a lot about the token price. We can't affect it directly, but I think this does reflect that when we just actually like put our heads down, do the work, stay alive, keep moving forward towards this ambitious mission, the market recognizes it and more people want to participate, learn about what we're doing, and it's reflected in sort of the value of the underlying network. And hopefully everyone here who's a sort of stakeholder in the network is rewarded through that as well. Why are we here today? I did a version of this talk for the team yesterday, and I talked a lot about the first point here. The main reason we're here, I think, is connection, right? We spend so much time working online, remotely, communicating through chat and avatars and forum posts. And when you do that, that brings a lot of advantages. We have this great global community, but you don't have the opportunity to build strong connections, to empathize with your teammates and your collaborators, to get to know them personally, understand their motivations. And this is like a rare, great opportunity to actually come together and do that. So if you do nothing else this week, I would just focus on the conversations, meeting people, getting to know them, and that'll carry forward and benefit us all from the work that we have to do going forward. But I also think there's a couple other opportunities. My second point about focus, I think is important. I know people maybe feel differently about this. We all have different perspectives of what the Livepeer network can be and where our project, why it has an opportunity or delivers unique value. I think that's great. That's part of the diversity of the ecosystem and what makes Livepeer sort of unstoppable and inevitable. But at the same time, I think we're excited about the opportunity that we see in front of us as a robust compute infrastructure for the future of video and AI. And I think if we focus on that and help understand that and all see that opportunity, then we can all row forward together and collectively capture that in a way that may be hard to do if we didn't spend the time sort of aligning and coming into to focus on that. So I think that's another opportunity. And lastly, let's just like have some fun, enjoy spending time with one another, get inspired, and hopefully emerge, energized to take on all the hard work that we will have ahead of us over the next couple of years. Because I know in the day-to-day it can get repetitive, it can get grueling, you can get impatient. But I think these are good moments to come together and really get excited about some of the bold, ambitious stuff that people are working on they're going to present today. So I'm excited. I want to take a few minutes to highlight and give some perspective on sort of the history of innovation that we've had at Livepeer dating back to the early days for people who maybe don't realize all that we've accomplished so far. So if you look back to 2017? Have I been one slide ahead this whole time? 2017, that was the dawn of the Livepeer network. Right, that was when we published the Livepeer white paper, sort of inspired an early community with this ambitious vision to build the world's open video infrastructure and talk about how you could use Ethereum and smart contracts to actually make an open, coordinated network that settled payments to people globally who added compute power, and how the token incentives could be used to bootstrap this network. We presented this at like a seminal event in the industry called the Token Summit, first ever event that brought together all of the like new token coordinated projects on Ethereum, and presented alongside Filecoin and Tezos and the Basic Attention Token, which became the Brave Browser project, and Aragon, a lot of these early ecosystem pioneers, and sort of put Livepeer on the map. Right, so people were excited about the potential. We had early prototype software, but we still had a lot of work to do to actually get a live network launched, a live media server launched, and get streaming working. And so in 2018, we did that. We launched the network, and rather than doing a ICO, which was like the trendy thing at the time, where people were raising tens, hundreds of millions of dollars, we actually thought it was really important that the network be open access, that anyone could participate and could earn the token for participation from the get-go. So we invented this new algorithm called the Merkle mine to distribute the token. And it was sort of part mining, part airdrop. It resulted in, I think, 2.6 million Ethereum wallets having a little bit of Livepeer token. And many people, maybe some in the room, actually discovered the project because Livepeer token like randomly appeared in their wallet, and they came to the community, learned about it, and began to participate. The chart shows we were actually like one of the most widely distributed tokens at the time, just behind ETH and BTC, essentially. And we did this all without some big speculative crowd sale that created risk or overcapitalized the project. And we got a lot of attention for that. But that was just an initial token distribution so that you could actually start a proof of stake inspired network with a wide distribution. Actually, the token distribution has been ongoing for 7+ years, and that's through Livepeer's active participation incentives, which we actually sort of pioneered that concept as well. The idea that if you're doing useful work for the network, over time, inflation would be used to distribute more of the network ownership to those who are running nodes, who are staking and delegating tokens, who are maybe helping by building in the ecosystem, and diluting away those who are just passively holding tokens on the sideline. And so when we published our inflation model, we actually got a lot of like thought leadership attention from Kyle Samani and Jake Brookman and Chris Berniski, like these big thought leaders in the space, who drew attention to Livepeer as this model for rewarding participation. And actually, the person who is credited with kicking off DeFi yield farming, Kane from Synthetics, they were the first project to do like yield farming that kicked off DeFi summer. Anytime he gives a talk, he actually credits Livepeer as being the inspiration for yield farming, which is another like you're welcome and I'm sorry moment for something that we created. So moving on, Livepeer network was live, we were operating, we were powering transcoding, but we ran into major scaling challenges, right? Who was running a node on the network back in 2020? We got Jason, we got Adam, Frank. Yeah. Does anyone remember how expensive it was to make a reward call at the peak? Did it ever pass $1,000 to make a, yeah, there was days where it cost more than $1,000 to make a reward call. And therefore, I mean, on that day, I don't think anyone could make a call, but for like a couple of months, only like the top 6 or 7 stake nodes could make reward calls profitably. So that was a disaster. We're like, we have to solve this. We have to get off Ethereum L1. L2s didn't exist, right? Optimism, Arbitrum were in development. They had this promise. Polygon was its own side chain. As soon as Arbitrum launched, we became the first protocol to do a migration to Arbitrum. And I don't just mean like deploying new smart contracts and saying you have a new protocol, but actually doing like real state migration and keeping the existing stake mapping and everything from L1 to L2 with a live asset and convert the Livepeer token to L2 Livepeer token and get exchange integrations and everything. So that was like a huge effort. We were once again a pioneer in innovation, the first to successfully do that. And like, knock on wood, I think it went off almost without a hitch. So big props to anyone in the room who worked on that. And yeah, someone was mentioning today, we still have people pop into the Discord every once in a while being like, yeah, I think my tokens are on L1. Like, how do I migrate to L2? So this was another good like pioneering moment for us. But we weren't done with innovation, right? I think in 2022, 2023, we actually helped create a new category in the market's mind. And Adam Soffer is here in the room. I think it was his idea to start the Web3 Index, which was a tracker of all of these work protocol projects, these resource allocation projects that were, it wasn't crypto finance, it wasn't DeFi, it was projects that tried to coordinate storage or compute resources or physical world resources. And let's put them all in a website and let's show how many fees they're earning for actual demand and real usage every week, every month. And that website, the Web3 Index, became the inspiration for analysts like those at Masari to actually start covering the category as something unique. And there was no term for it yet, so people called them like work protocols or resource allocation protocols. And then Sami Kassab created this term DePIN to represent decentralized physical infrastructure networks. And then, sure enough, that became a whole category that's actually, covered and been instrumental to powering, the future of compute and the future of AI as well. So, yet another thing that Livepeer was ahead of the curve on and pioneered and invented. 2024. Okay, I added some graphics to this last minute, but they probably didn't get reloaded, so no big deal. 2024, we introduced the on-chain treasury and governance over that. And I think we have a lot of iteration to do and figuring out how do we restart that, what's the right balance. But it's actually so powerful and it's worked so well that in basically a year, we went from like one funded entity in the ecosystem, like Livepeer Inc. and maybe the AISP and Cloud SP were some of the early funded entities here, to now I think there's like 12 or 13 plus entities, all funded by this treasury, many of which represented in this room, that are building on or around Livepeer full time. So that's huge, and we're just getting started, right? So you've seen a lot of projects start with huge treasuries and reserve tokens from the get-go, and sort of have this, I don't know, paper money in the speculative space that they can use to fund things, and that's been powerful. But we're one of the first to actually like introduce this and gradually populate it in what we think should be like a sustainable way over time. So a lot of credit there. Still not done, right? 2025 was all about abstracting the types of jobs that could be done on the Livepeer network, bringing AI compute and focusing on real-time AI. We've seen the work with bring your own container. We've seen agents be built on this network. This is really powerful, right? This is once again just getting started, and it's going to unlock like a huge amount of potential for the future. So that sort of brings us to the current day. I hope the history like reminds everyone that we're all part of something that's been constantly at the cutting edge and innovating and doing the work and accruing value, and we're going to continue to do that. So I'm getting the 2-minute warning. I probably have like 3 minutes left, but I think we have a big opportunity, right? I think I believe in this future of Livepeer's infrastructure for real-time AI video and world models, but even if you zoom out from that, you just look at the network, there's no reason we shouldn't continue to be the inspirational model and project for how token-coordinated networks deliver actual meaningful utility to the market at scale, right? There's a lot of projects that are maybe ranked higher than us and there's a lot of speculative interest, or they're newer, but we are light years ahead in terms of like real value and substance delivered and having real users and a big opportunity. But if we're going to do that, I think there's a few things that we all should challenge ourselves that we need to accomplish, right? I think, I listed 4 here. There's many more, but I think we need visibility into the jobs that are being performed on the network and the payments that are being made, just for ourselves so that we know and can compete and perform correctly, but that the world can see and everyone can see how this is useful and functional, right? I think we need to work towards true market price discovery for all these jobs, and competition for them from a diverse set of gateways, not just a couple maybe subsidized gateways. But when you actually see many gateways sending many job types and people competing for the work, we'll actually discover like how cost effective this network can be. And then we can market that and share that to the world, how this network can be a better infrastructure than centralized providers, right? We obviously have to adjust the balance of inflationary LPT versus fees that people are earning. We'll need that to be more sustainable in the long term. And I know there's working groups that are going to be tackling that problem in the coming months. And then the last one, I think we have a great start on with the Treasury, but just having sustainable public goods funding that's community governed to make sure that our protocol and our project can endure in a diverse way that meets the needs of everyone in the ecosystem is always going to be critically important. So we don't want to take our eye off that or take it for granted that just oh, Livepeer Inc.'s here and they're always going to maintain this client, so we're good, right? We shouldn't rely on any one company. We should make sure that the protocol itself can fund what it needs. So last slide, I think. Let's zoom out from our day-to-day challenges and our debates and just recognize what we have here as a foundation, right? We have like the strongest, most passionate technical first community of node operators and builders that deeply care and want Livepeer to succeed and want to figure out how we can be innovative. And it's not all just concentrated in one place. It's represented by many different groups and individuals and entities all around the world. So that's amazing. Like that's an amazing base to build off of. We also have this thriving token infrastructure and the support of top exchanges, institutions, liquidity providers. Like many projects are great, but they can never get over that hump and never have that strong foundation. That's really important for sort of the capital access and funding that we need to build towards this vision and for growing our community as well. Really excited that we've established the Livepeer Foundation this year. We're going to hear from them in a moment. But I know they're doing a lot of groundwork. It's coming into place, taking shape. But it's great that we have this like neutral nonprofit entity that can coordinate and shepherd and sit at the center of the 12 plus different entities that are all building here. And it's not just coordinated by like one company. It's so important, right? And lastly, I'm excited about our mission, right? It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge risky bet. It's a moonshot, but it's on the cutting edge in an inspirational field, and it's in a niche that we are really well served to actually compete and win in. So, you asked me like why I'm still excited after 8-9 years of grinding to build out Livepeer. It's this mission is really exciting, and doing it with the people in this room is really, really exciting as well. So I'm excited. I hope you're all excited. Thank you for coming. I hope we have a great couple of days of making connections here. And yeah, go Livepeer.